Okay, so I have been glued to my phone watching The Polygamist on Netflix, and I cannot stop thinking about one thing. Not Joyce, not Jonasi, not Matipa, but the children. Because everyone is in the comment section talking about who deserved what and who was the real villain. And meanwhile, the children in this show are just sitting in the middle of all of it, watching everything fall apart, and nobody is talking about them. So today, that is what we are doing. We are breaking down every major character in The Polygamist, and we are looking at all of it through the eyes of the children. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never watch this show the same way again. And welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, you're highly welcome. Please make sure that you drop a comment, like this video, and share this video with your loved ones. You're going to love this review. Let's start with Jonasi, because everything, and I mean everything, starts and ends with him. I don't know if I will be pronouncing the name right, but please bear with me. I'm a Nigerian and this is South African series, so please bear with me. On the surface, Jonasi Gomora is the dream self-made CEO, successful empire, beautiful family, charming smile. He knows exactly how to make a woman feel like she is the only person in the room. But here's the thing about Jonasi that I need you to understand. He does not see himself as a villain at all. This man genuinely believes that he can have everything, every woman, every relationship, every secret, and that everyone around him should simply adjust and accept it. And that is what makes this man so dangerous. Not the cheating, but the entitlement. There is a scene that stopped me completely. Joyce has just had a baby and she's exhausted. She's running on nothing. She's doing everything by herself. Man comes home and saw her that she's resting or sleeping. I can't remember. I think she was sleeping. Then the man was shouting and he calls her a bad mother. I need you to think about it from that child's perspective, not the newborn and older child in the family watching their father say that to their mother. What are they learning? They are learning that a woman can give everything she has and it will still not be enough. They are learning that fathers gets to criticize without contributing. And then fight happens. Jonasi's side chick and Joyce clash. Jonasi comes home, shouts at her. Instead of him to take one ounce of accountability, he did not. He deflects. Then the next thing, he packed his bags, and Joyce was begging him, please, this one, that, don't go. Before you know it, this man walks out, moving with his side chick. The children watched that. They watched their father use their mother's pain as an excuse to leave. And what they learned in that moment is that in this house, when things get hard, men leaves. And here is what I want you to notice. The women spent the entire series fighting each other. Joyce versus Matipa, Joyce versus Essie, the daughter caught in the middle. But if you remove Jonasi from this equation, there is no war, no Matipa versus Joyce, no secret wife, no hidden children, no broken family. The women become enemies because Jonasi's benefit from them staying distracted. This man is not just a bad husband. He's teaching his children that they don't have to be a good husband, and he doesn't even realize it. And I don't even think he cares. Before there was Matipa, before there was Essie, before there were secrets hacked on secrets and hidden children and women showing up at funerals wearing black, there was Joyce. And what makes Joyce's story so painful, it's not just that her husband betrayed her. It is that she built the life he used to betray her. And women, we need to be very careful when choosing a man and when making a lifelong decision not to build a life that a man will use to destroy us tomorrow. She was the face of the marriage, the one people recognized, the one who held the family's image together, while Jonasi's was out building empires in other women's lives. And we see this clearly when someone at work tells Jonasi that the business world does not even know him. They know Joyce. He only comes back to her because he needs her name. Think about that. The man who called her a bad mother, the man who packed his bag while she was begging him not to leave. He comes back not because he chose her, not because he realized his mistakes, but because she was too valuable to lose. And do you know what Joyce did? She took him back. Not because she's weak, but because she has built her entire identity around this marriage. Her public image, her children's stability, her sense of self, all of it is tied to this family being intact. Walking away means losing everything. Walking away means losing everything she has constructed. So she stays and she tries, and he goes behind her back and gets another woman pregnant anyway. That is when something in Joyce started to change. At first, she felt raged. She want to scatter everything, and then she stayed quiet. And before you know it, she heard another news in episode 12 that the woman she thought was like sister to her has been her husband's wife all along. And that is when something in Joyce started to change. The woman who used to cry, who used to beg at the door, who used to break openly, by episode 13, she's just looking empty. Still, like she has absorbed so much that her face no longer know how to react to new pain. And the children are watching that too. They are watching their mother slowly disappear inside herself, not dramatically, not loudly, just quietly shrinking, quietly going numb, quietly becoming a version of herself that she had learned not to feel things too deeply, because feeling things too deeply has only ever cost her. For their son and daughter, watching their mother is its own kind of heartbreak. Watching what their father is doing to their mother, watching what that man is making their mother to go through, is different type of heartbreak. Because your mother is supposed to be the one who is okay. Your mother is supposed to be stable. And when you watch your mother stop crying, not because she's healed, but because she ran out, that does something to a child that is very difficult to explain. That is when their daughter went to their father crying, talking to this man. She wrote a letter and was reading it. This man told her to drop it, that he's gonna read it later. Joyce did not just lose a husband, she lost herself slowly in front of her children, and they had the front row seat to all of it. Now Matipa, and I know people have very strong feelings about Matipa. She starts as someone connected to the Gomora world. She makes a deliberate decision to pursue Jonasi. She becomes his mistress, then gains status through him, and she spends most of the series absolutely convinced that she has won. That is Matipa's strategy right there. She confuses being chosen for being secure. She thinks because Jonasi picked her, she's different from the other women. She thinks her position is solid. She's competing with Joyce, trying to secure her future, carrying herself like the victory is already hers. And then Jonasi gets her pregnant. Behind Joyce's back, after he already went back to Joyce and made promises. Now from the children's perspectives, Joyce's children, Matipa is simply the woman their father left their mother for. Children do not process nuance. They do not sit down and think about how complicated adult relationships are. They think my father packed his bag and walked out while my mother was in pain, crying, and he went to her. And now there is a baby, a half-sibling they did not ask for, did not choose, and now have to figure out how to exist alongside for the rest of their life. Nobody sat those children down. Nobody asked them how they felt. The adults were too busy fighting over Jonasi to notice that the children were quietly processing all of it alone. Matipa is not purely evil. She's ambitious. She wants a better life. And in her own way, she genuinely loves Jonasi. But she mistakes being chosen for being loved. And a man who will betray another woman will always be capable of betraying another. Essie is the one that broke my heart the most when I found out about her in the series. And I think, if you're being honest, she broke yours too. Essie is Jonathan's secret wife, secret second wife. She's not fighting public battles like Joyce. She's not competing for position like Matipa. She's just surviving quietly. accepting less than she deserves for years because she's still holding on to the version of Jonasi she fell in love with before the money, before the empire, before all of it. That is Issei's weakness and her tragedy at the same time. She keeps loving the man he used to be instead of seeing the man he has become. And then episode 13 happens. The woman Joyce called a sister, the woman Joyce thought that is wife to Jonah's brother, turned out to be the wife of her husband, and there is a daughter between them. Joyce's reaction in that scene, without tears, is not rage. She's just empty. Like when I watch her in that scene, I'm like, this woman she's done. It was empty. Like she has run out of the capacity to feel anything new. And honestly, that emptiness scared me more than any breakdown would have, because that is what happens when when a person has absorbed too much betrayal. They don't cry anymore. They just go quiet. But I want to talk about Issei's daughter, because that child grew up knowing she was a secret. She grew up watching her mother love a man who could not fully claim them. She grew up in the shadow of Joyce's family without Joyce even knowing she existed. And what does she do with all of that? She goes to their house, she disrupts everything, then she calls Joyce personally, not to make peace, not to apologize, but to reveal everything. That she's her husband's daughter, that her mother has been his wife all along. That child did not wake up one day and decide to cause chaos. She was shaped into that way by the environment she grew up in, by a father who hid her, by a life that told her that she was not real enough to be acknowledged. One thing I know is that secrets do not stay secrets. They just wait until the children are old enough to carry them into the open. Okay? So parents, make una keep doing your children bad things and say that the children should not go outside and say it. When the children say it outside, you start shaming them for destroying the family name that you have already destroyed. And among all the women, Joyce had status, Matipa had ambition, but Issei gave the most and received the least. She is the biggest victim in this story, and the show barely let her be loud about it. Then there is Lindani, and Lindani's story is the one that feels the most real to me because it is the most common. You will see old men now going after small children because they are easy to be manipulated. She's younger, more vulnerable, and she gets pulled into the Gomora world without fully understanding what she's walking into. She wants love, she wants belonging, she wants a better future. And you see that Jonasi, that man, is charming, wealth, confidence, Jonasi gave her attention, and she mistake all of it for all of the things that she wants, the love, those things, belonging. She thought that man is angel. She no know say that man is devil from the pit of hell. Lindani is not fighting for power like Matipa. She's not surviving quietly like Issei. She just genuinely believes that love will save her. And that is the most heartbreaking kind of person to watch get hurt. Because she did not come in with agenda. She came in with hope. Her story is a warning about what happens when someone young and hungry for love meets someone with power and no integrity. She becomes the easiest to manipulate because she's the most open. Many people watching this show will recognize Lindani, not because they were her, but because they knew her, the girl who fell for the wrong person and paid the highest price. And then there is Magesh, Jonasi's brother. Magesh is not the villain of this story, but he is not innocent either. He knows, he always knows, and he keeps choosing family over loyalty. That is the question Magesh forces you to sit with. How much wrongdoing do you excuse simply because someone is your family? simply because somebody is your friend. Because from the children's perspective, Magesh is an uncle who watched their family fall apart and said nothing, who protected their father at the expense of their mother, who chose silence when the truth could have changed everything. Magesh represents every person in a family who sees the damage being done and decide that keeping quiet is keeping the peace, and peace is more important than telling the truth. But now let's talk about who I really came here to talk about today. Menzi and Mpem. If I don't pronounce it right, I'm so sorry. Jonasi's children, the ones nobody is discussing, like they are not. I want people to pay more attention to those children and look at every polygamous family, look at every children in unhappy marriages, like look at those children. Like people need to be thinking about children and not like siding the parent, trying to pick side between the father and the mother. Like the children are what is important because they are innocent. They did not choose this life. Messi grows up looking up to his father. And why I want to say Jonas is successful, powerful, respected. For his son, that is everything. Your father is your first image of what a man is supposed to be. And I want father to also be thinking about this. Who you are, is that what you want your son to become? And then the secrets start coming out, and Messi realizes that his father is not just cheating on his mother, he is humiliating the entire family. Everything they stood for, everything they presented to the world, it was built on lies upon lies. That kind of realization does something to his son that is very hard to undo, even to their daughters. Because now the question is not just about his father. The question becomes, if the man I admire my whole life is capable of this, who is he really? And what does that make me? Menzi is forced to choose between loyalty to his father and protecting his mother. And no child should ever have to make that choice. And then there is Mpem. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it right again. She watches her mother's heartbreak up close every single episode. She sees the public embarrassment, the private tears, the numbness that slowly replace the emotion on her mother's face. She watched the family image she grew up proud of to get dismantled piece by piece. For a daughter, watching her father repeatedly betray her mother does not just hurt. It changes how she sees relationships. It changes how she sees men. It plants a question in her that she will spend years trying to answer. Is this what love is supposed to look like? Mpem is not just grieving a broken marriage. She's grieving the father she thought she knew. And this is what I keep coming back to every time I put down my phone after watching this show. Everyone is focused on the adults, Joyce versus Matipa, Jonasi's empire, who gets what at the end. But the children, Menzi, Mpem's, Issei's daughter, they never had a choice. They did not choose this family. They did not choose this secret. They did not choose to grow up in a house where love looked like begging, where fathers left without looking back, where mothers went quiet instead of breaking down, where half siblings appeared without warning, and the woman you called aunt turned out to be your father's wife. And everybody just wants the children to be normal. How? Make it make sense. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. If you love this type of reviews, please tell me more movies, more series to review in the comments. I love watching series, and I'll be so here to review anything you want me to review with you. I really enjoyed this show. It teaches me a lot, but I'm still in episode 13. I couldn't take it anymore. That's why I just have to. Okay, let me bring this to y'all here, my family. So please don't forget to like this video, share it with your loved ones. I love you always. See you in my next video.